And we're back, guys. I'm your host, Good Energy. Welcome to Tennis in a Minute. We're going to talk Coco Gauff. We're going to talk Grigor. That's right, guys. Did you see him falling down, hitting the winner, saving the overhead volley? Boy, he's exhausted. As always, this video is brought to you via the Doctrine of Fair Use, the Fair Dealing, and the Digital Millennium Act. We're also going to talk Iga, who's taken out by one of my top team prospects. A little bit more on that. But Coco Gauff, guys. I also want to discuss the stars on the tour. Is there something wrong with the stars? Is this schedule too grueling? Are the ladies getting uninterested? Something's going on, okay? And it's not Coco. It's possibly several stars. We're going to talk that in a minute as well. But Grigor taking on one of my favorite guys on tour. In fact, both of these guys are two of my favorite male players to watch on tour, taking on Francisco in a epic dual quarterfinal match. Listen, the one-handed backhand looking like Roger Federer, the former world rank number 3. He's never won a slam, ladies and gentlemen, but he is trying to get back to the top, inside the top 5. Now, Francisco, we're going to pick up here the third set. Francisco is up. We're on serve, 6-5. He has a match point. And then Grigor just went nutty, ladies and gentlemen. Francisco has an overhead smash, and I'm going to take a page out of Venus Williams' book. Listen, these overheads, they're some of the toughest shots to make. Casual fans that are watching, they think these are just guaranteed points, easy points. No, you have to time the ball. You can't take your eyes off of it. You have everyone in the arena watching you, and you are so nervous. You don't want to miss. It's very tough to gauge it. And as you're keeping your eye on the ball at the last second, you have to make a split decision on where to go with it. And it's easy to miss these overheads. Listen, guys, Francisco had an overhead smash. He should have won the point. But Grigor chases it down, slides, hit the running forehand, falls down. And that's a winner, ladies and gentlemen. He wins this point. He would have forced the third set tiebreak. And this crowd went wild. Now, listen, was it trivia? Was it Serena Williams? Who did Serena Williams say is her crush on the male tour? Does anyone know? Now, Grigor is currently ranked 15th. Francisco Cerundolo, say that fast. Francisco Cerundolo ranked 24th on the world tour. Did you see that epic match I covered against him and his brother in Argentina? That was pretty cool. Watch out for his brother. And again, I told you to watch out for his brother. He plays. I think he's just a little advanced right now, trying to break onto the main tour, consistently play in these top tier tournaments. Right now, he plays a lot of clay back home, and he just matched up with a lot of players that he just beats. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, Francisco Cerundolo in a very tough matchup here. He would actually lose this match in the third set tiebreak as the crowd goes wild. Again, both of these guys, very classy. I've met them both several times. In fact, Grigor last week, very, very friendly stop. Showed love. Same with Francisco. Great guys. But Grigor would win this match, ladies and gentlemen, by way of winning 80% of his first serves, 7 aces. He won 45% of Francisco's second serves, and he advances. A hug, both classy men at the net. Listen, I might do a giveaway one of these days. I have memorabilia from both of these guys. I like them. Very classy guys. I'm telling you guys. And yeah, I think it was Grigor. Serena said that was her crush on the male tour. And by the way, if Djokovic wins against Sebastian Korda, he's going to take on Grigor. And that's going to be a very, very interesting match. I think it's going to be good. However, I must tell you, Grigor's injured, and Francisco had several opportunities, I think, to take advantage of that. But Francisco couldn't get his serve in play. Grigor was just hustling and bustling. Double faults for Francisco in the tiebreak. But on to Coco Gauff, guys. What's up? I mean, we have to have a serious discussion here, because a lot of the top players, it seems like they're going through things. We know Elena Rybakina is going through her troubles with her former coach, current coach, I guess you can say, Stefanos. She doesn't appear to be her best. Eliminated early here in Miami. Iga Swiatek is going through a lot. Coco's going through a lot. Now, Coco is not playing doubles. I guess, Pegula states it was more of a mutual decision, but we all know the heat was on Coco to stop playing doubles with Pegula, focus on her single side. And it seemed like things were working, right? Towards the end of last season, she's the reigning WTA champion. But a few early exits here in the new year, and people are now, you know how the public is. What have you done for me lately? But I don't think there's an issue with Coco. She's won 3 of her last 9 tournaments. That's a 33% win rate. There's no one currently on tour with a better win rate in terms of tournaments. Going back to their last 9. Mira's right there. She's the closest. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, it happens. She's 21. She's literally been going nonstop since she was 13. A lot of people are saying she's enjoying life a little too much. Listen, she should. This is a game. This is a sport, okay? She does a lot of philanthropy. She's very great with helping people. She's a rock star. If you can't win every match, make sure you're also enjoying your life and having a good work-life balance. But a lot of people think that Coco should go back to playing doubles, and I kind of think so too. I personally think, and look, we all know last year we all said she probably should stop playing doubles and focus on singles. But I think she should play doubles because the breaks, like for example, when Coco was in great form, great shape coming off of the Australian Open, I felt she should have kept playing and played that Upper Lens 500. I felt, why not? Perfect opportunity, right? She didn't. Coming back a little bit flat towards the Middle East, I felt playing doubles would have helped. We saw losses to Ashley Kruger, a match she probably should have won, playing on the side court, a lot of rain. The loss to Marta Kashuk in Doha, again, playing doubles would have helped. She did make the round of 16 at the Indian Wells, but Belinda Bencic, after winning the first set, a match she should have won. Belinda immediately eliminated after that in the quarterfinal. Here in Miami, she made the round of 16 again after 2 stellar performances against Sofia Kenin, double bagel. Zachary, she destroyed. And Magdalene, a lot of people think that's a match she should have won after serving Magna a bagel the previous match they played. She should have. But it happens, guys. Sometimes you let your guard down. You underestimate your opponent. Everyone has done it. Coco's no exception. But I don't think Coco should get this much criticism, right? Like I said, she's won 3 of her last 9 tournaments. On the year, yeah, I mean, she's 13-5. Realistically, she probably should be at least, at this point, I'd probably say at least 16-5. But then again, if she gets past Lynette, we know she beats Paulini. She probably wins Miami, right, guys? But a lot of people are on Coco's case. It happens. But what about Iga? Big bad Iga. We're going to switch here from Grigor. Again, good win over Francisco. And I want to get to Pegula. Okay, we got Pegula on the schedule. We'll get to Iga in a minute. Now, Pegula comes through. She defeats Emma Raducanu. It goes 3. I think Emma's playing good. Again, I talked about her being like on her 10th coach. She's going through a lot. Early on, after winning the U.S. Open, the report was she has a diva mentality. She's hard to work with. But it comes out recently that it's just she has high expectations. So she's the boss. She has the right to control her work environment. If someone doesn't fit, they don't fit. Pegula would come through by way of 6 aces, winning 74% of her first serves, 46% of Emma Raducanu's second serves. Pegula played good. And listen, guys, these tournaments here, I think you got to watch out. I think we could have an American still this. And I think Pegula's, go check the community, very high odds. The experts don't think she can win it. But I think this is one of those tournaments where she could probably win it. Why? Because, listen, Jasmine Paolini is going to take on Aryna Sabalenka. The head-to-head 3-2. That's never been an easy match for Sabalenka. We saw Jasmine beat Sabalenka at the 22 Indian Wells. I covered that match. I gave you that free prediction. She was like an 8-1 underdog. I said she would win that match. Sabalenka's won the last 2 matches against Jasmine, even going back to the Saudi Arabia Masters finals. But, again, Jasmine moves well whenever she steps on the court. She's going to be a tough out for anyone. I do think Sabalenka is going to have her hands full. On the other side, though, Pegula's going to be taking on Alexandra Ayala. Now, listen, guys, one of my top 10 prospects. She's very good. 3-time Junior Slam champion. She entered this tournament ranked 110th or something like that. 102 maybe. She's going to at least end this tournament a top 70 player, right? Congratulations to her. Back to 45 plus win seasons, 5 titles on the lower level, 3 junior slams. She's big time. She's taking out 3 slam champions. That's right, guys. She's hot. Iga Swiatek last round, right, in the quarterfinals. She took out Badosa. The reality here is I want to focus on the slams, right? The slam champion she beat, Yelena Ostapenko. A lot of people didn't think she could win that match. Madison Keys, the hard ball striker. No one thought she could win that match. My personal opinion, Badosa wasn't healthy, so I think that's a match Badosa could have won. But the reality here is when you're hot, you're hot. And when you gain form, you're used to the courts. It's like throwing a rock in the ocean. Everything you hit when you have your range and your form, it's very tough. And this is how these upsets happen. It's tough for your opponent to gain a rhythm, right? Because, again, it's like throwing a rock in the ocean. Everything's hitting, your backhand, your forehand. And Alexandra is a very solid player. She's much more mature for her age. She's going to be 20 years old soon. And I think she's here to stay, which is why I told you to watch out for her. I've watched her. I like her game. She's a solid player. This is how someone like Pegula could win this tournament. Jasmine upsets Sabalenka or not. Pegula is very technical. She's a good ball striker. She just took out Emma Raducanu. She's going to be in the semifinal after taking out Marta Kostyuk. Very hard to play against. Comes vertically. Anna Kalinskaya, good ball striker, does a lot of tactics to throw you off of your game. Bernarda Pera, crafty lefty, very awkward to play. She's beat the very awkward players to play against. And I think Emma has a very similar game to Alexandra. That's why I think Pegula could very well win this tournament. Pegula's also a sleeper. She's in the 4th spot. And she's one of those players that she's going to be technical. She's not going to do a lot of things to to get her out of a match because she doesn't really make mistakes. She doesn't really take a lot of risks. She said it herself. In terms of strength and power, she only plays at about 70% her strength, right? Because she wants to control the ball. The harder you hit, the tougher you try to strike the ball, the more prone you are to making mistakes, right? It's like driving a fast car around corners. It's going to be very tough to hit those corners. Same with the tennis racket, right? Pegula is very calculated. I do think she gets past Ayala, and she's going to set up a showdown with either Polini or Sabalenka in the final. I think we could see Pegula win this tournament as a whole. But I want to talk Iga Swiatek, right? She's eliminated, getting a lot of press along with Coco. Again, to that fan that disrespected Iga, there's no place for that, right? You don't come to the tennis grounds doing stuff like that. Please don't. There's no place for that. Iga had to increase her security. I think it's unfortunate. And the same with Emma Raducanu not too long ago, right? Listen, Iga Swiatek, this is her longest title drought of her career. Is that concerning, guys? A lot of talk about Coco. Are we concerned about the Polish princess, the longest title drought of her career? This is her 3rd career loss against an opponent ranked outside the top 100. Are we concerned about that? Okay, a lot of talk about Coco, but Iga hasn't won a title in 12 straight tournaments. 12 straight WTA Tour tournaments. What about that? Coco's won 3 out of her last 9 tournaments she entered. Okay, so I think it's a lot of drama, a lot of focus on Coco. There's no one on tour that has expectations like Coco. It needs to stop, guys. Cut it out. But again, a lot of people are concerned with Coco, the report, what she's doing off the court. Listen, let her live her life. She's 21 years old, but I do think she's got to understand what got her here and what's going to keep her here, and that's tennis. Serena and Venus Williams, guys, they didn't have that kind of life when they were 19, 20. Richard had them going from the court to the hotel, practicing and focusing on the mental aspect of the game, And I think that's why Richard is regarded as one of the greatest coaches to ever coach without having a tennis background prior. is because of his discipline. Serena, Venus were very disciplined girls, right? They weren't partying. They weren't doing those extracurriculum activities, if you will. They just weren't doing that kind of stuff. It was tennis, hotel, more tennis, wake up tennis. They live, sleep, breathe tennis. And it shows. Two of the greatest players of all time. Serena, number one on my top list in the Open era, and Venus is number 5. It shows they were very disciplined. A lot of these, it's a different game, though. We also have to understand that with the technology, the multimedia. Coco's a rock star, and we can't expect her to live the life of Serena. She's not Serena, right? But we can agree that of all the ladies on tour, she's had the best teenage career, and she's still a rock star, and she's still a big star. And there's no drought. She's not going to win every tournament. To win 3 titles of the last 9 tournaments you entered is pretty darn good. And we also know Coco heats up during the last leg of the tour. We know that historically. That's when she gets hot. Why? Because that's when her shape takes form, her consistency, her longevity, and players are just worn out by then. And we're showing the longevity of why she's going to be the future of the tennis scene. All right. In terms of Alexandra Ayala, a great performance against Iga. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with Iga. Iga said it herself. Look, I try to keep my best form at least 5 times during the year, which means you're going to have droughts where you just don't play your best, and you're going to have droughts where you just can't win it all. It happens, ladies and gentlemen. And the same with Coco. It happens. You're not going to win every tournament. I am concerned, though, that Iga is getting a little bit frustrated. She's showing a lot of frustration. We go back to the ball kid at the Indian Wells. We go back to Coco slamming her racket. They are getting frustrated. And let's take a page from Elena Rybakina's book. She'll talk about it when the time is right, but bad things are going to happen if they continue to play a schedule like this. Listen, guys, there is a lot of travel. Things don't happen. Sometimes we've all had games and matches where you just don't feel your best. And your opponent feels their best. They plays their best. They play safe. And you end up losing. It happens. I wouldn't think too much of it, ladies and gentlemen, but don't be surprised if big game Jessie P wins the Miami Open. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Comment below, guys. Thanks for listening. Tennis in a Minute. Sabalenka, Jasmine, I think that's going to be a good match. Sabalenka's a big favorite. I'm going to take Jasmine to win at least a set. I think she can do that. I'm going to take Pegula to win. I think Pegula might win the whole thing here, guys. That's the pick. Tennis in a Minute. Stay tuned.